Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for rejoining us. My name is Mr. Reality, and I'm on the Psychic Medium Liz Cross show. Liz, how are you doing?
Oh, great. Thank you.
I wanted to send a special thank you to everybody out there who's offered me and given me a tip on the tip jar here at Reality Forecast.
All right. What do you have lined up for us today?
So this was
Oh,
in the news over Virginia Giuffre at her home near Perth. She was found by local authorities and said that her death is being probed by major crimes, but early indications are that her death is not suspicious. And there's a lot of people online. I think conspiracy theories are low-hanging fruit. A lot of people latch onto that like it's a truth. So I wondered if we could bring in the energy of Virginia and talk to her.
yep. I've got her here.
So she was born in Sacramento, California, 1983. She suffered abuse early on and then was sent to a foster care home and then was groomed and picked up by Ghislaine Maxwell in 1999. Is this tracking for her so far?
Yeah.
And how many other victims or people abused her when she was growing up as a child before she met the Maxwell and the Epstein crew?
How many people abused you? Several. She was abused in the foster home and where she was abused from early childhood, sexual abused, um, almost prostituted out as a child is what I'm getting from her. And it just seemed to follow her wherever she went. She
And
was
then
always trying to get away from the abuse and could not seem to get away.
she lived on the streets too for a while too, I think down in Florida.
Did you live on? Yes, there was a brief time.
Why do you sign up for a lifetime like that? What's the advantage for the soul? Or is it just a repeating pattern that the soul is locked into?
Why do you have this in a lot of your lifetimes? Yes, sexual abuse is very prominent in a lot of her lifetimes.
And to the soul or karmic balance, what does that do? What's the benefit or pattern?
What's the benefit of it? It's about trying to stand your ground, you know, find your self-worth, your empowerment. It's a really difficult trap to get out of, she says. It's like one of the worst case scenarios to try to psychologically free yourself from knowing that it's not your fault. And it took her a long time to learn that lesson, but that was through lots of therapy and lots of help.
That therapy and help never covers past life debt and past life karma. So I'm still trying to understand if that was her pattern multiple lifetimes. Did she have other lifetimes with Epstein where they're karmically bound or the people that he had as clients?
So, have you and Epstein known each other? Yeah, they've had many past lives together. He's always the abuser. What about Maxwell? Yep. And she's always his wife, the Epstein's wife, and turns a blind eye to the abuse. This is not the first lifetime they've done this.
How many lifetimes has Virginia had as a human?
How many lifetimes have you had as a human? How many? Ooh, now it's pretty up there. It's around 400.
And roughly how much time has elapsed on the earth plane for 400 lifetimes? And how much of that has been in abuse pattern incarnations?
So if we were to put that together in years, how many years have you spent on the earth plane as a human? Oh, quite a lot. So how many years would you say that you spent? About 350 years on the earth plane? I
Does
have a
seem
question.
go up.
Thank you. The fact that you were the main or one of the main ones to speak out against Epstein, that obviously was in your life plan. Yes, it was. Okay. And did Epstein know or his soul know of that? Yes, that was all part of it. Why? because this is different. So Epstein has this role that he plays in so many lifetimes where he actually abuses children. Okay. And this is a cycle that he wants to break, he wants to be free of. And I'm saying, so by you speaking out and him being put in jail and awaiting trial, or by him being held somewhat accountable for some of his crimes, did that resolve the problem? And that's a no. That's a no. So on a soul level, even though Epstein on a soul level wants to relieve himself of this burden of having to play this role here on the earth plane in a human body, okay, this has not fixed the problem. And I'm just like, well, so where do we go from here if this doesn't fix the problem? Let's ask, where do we go from here? See? And I'm like, you guys, you can't repeat this again. This is ridiculous. Um, so let's ask her this question. Were you murdered? No, she was not.
What drove her to that final decision to say, I can't fight anymore?
She had reached that conclusion for a very long time. She had been struggling with this for a number of years. And she says, it really was inevitable. She couldn't find a way out. And I'm saying to her, but, you had that, not that it makes anything better, but I want to put this to her. But what about like the payout from Prince Andrew? Didn't that help alleviate some of the burden so you could like carry on? Of course, she moved to Australia. She was trying to carve a life out for herself. She says no, no. It it just made sure her children were okay. But as far as like the mental and psychological burdens she was carrying, she says no, it did nothing for her.
In 2022, she settled with Prince Andrew for a $12 million sum. She settled for with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2017 for an undisclosed amount, and I think Epstein also an undisclosed amount. Was her husband an abuser to her also? There's some debate online saying that she was abused and hit by him as well.
Ooh. Okay. Did your husband? Yes, he was very abusive. Was he physically abusive? Yeah, at times he was.
How much of this is true? How much of this is manufactured? A car or bus was driving at you at 110 kilometers and it hit you. You went into renal failure in the hospital, said you only had days to live, and then you got out, and then the pattern of despair set in.
What was the car crash about? It was a means to an end. Did you cause that accident? No, I don't feel she did. She's saying no, but it was a way out. She was looking for a way out. And that she says to her was a way out.
But that's
Did, I have
in the
another
life
question.
plan.
Sorry. I have another question. So did you die from the car crash? Was that what killed, is that what was your cause of death was? No. No, but it was plausible. Ah, okay. So she was looking for a way out, and she didn't want it to seem as if it was the way that she chose. We can't say it on YouTube, as you know. And it was like it was a way out for her. Maybe that she could post that, and then she dies of renal failure. That's what she was trying to do. But obviously what happened, it wasn't working. It didn't work. They knew I was lying, She didn't want people to know that she was desperate because she didn't want to be committed to some sort of psychological or psychiatric unit. She's been there, done that. She says all they do is, she's telling me, is they give you drugs and they all like mind bending things to calm you, and it really doesn't fix the problem.
Was she ever pressured or to conceal or alter any part of her testimony?
Ooh, were you under any pressure to conceal or alter any part of? Yes, yes, she was. She had received many death threats from Epstein and Maxwell, and she believes that they tried to kill her.
The photo of you and Prince Andrew, his girlfriend claims this is fake. Is this a real photo or is this a doctored photo?
Is this a real photo of you and Prince Andrew? Yes, it is a real photo, and it did happen.
And how many times did it happen with Prince Andrew?
How many times did it happen with Prince Andrew? At least twice.
Were there any other royals that you had relationships with or foreign nationals that you had relationships with?
Were there other prominent royals or foreign nationals that you? Yes, several royals. No, not royals, but lots of foreign nationals. Now, I have to give a bit of background here, and I don't actually know if the Epstein video is still on the channel, but we did channel Epstein years ago, and we got that he was not the one that made the choice to exit the earth plane. He was actually murdered. And we also got that the reason he did this was that he was blackmailing people. So he would arrange this, and it was like the ultimate blackmail. People were paying him millions of dollars or whatever the currency was at the time in the whatever country he happened to be dealing with. And he would threaten to show tapes. He was videotaping it. He had cameras set up in the rooms. And he was threatening to expose people through a third party, but expose people, and they would take the money. And of course, Epstein was getting a massive payout. And those tapes are actually still around. And those tapes were what we got from that channeling, if you remember, was
I
that they
remember.
were hidden in a cave on Epstein Island, and they're still there. Are they still there today? Yes, they are. Okay, so the evidence is still there. There's lots of people involved, and he was using this as a blackmail technique.
I wanted to ask Virginia if she'd ever been underground at the Epstein Island because it was, I believe, covered over by cement, but the evidence is now gone. So did she know what's below the mansion on the island?
Did you know what was below the mansion? Yes, there were rooms. There were rooms there. Were those to keep people in sometimes? Were you allowed to leave? No, she was not allowed to leave. Once she was ensnared in this trap, she was not allowed to leave. Were you paid? No, she says she was not paid at the time. It was like, oh, you're hanging out with the rich and you're this and you're that, you're with us. Did they give you alcohol? Yes, they did. And but then she was expected to perform for, different friends and different people, prominent people. Did you ever try to escape? Yes, she tried to run several times. Um, so when you were, she says that they were in the Tramp bar, the Tramp nightclub with Andrew. Did that happen? Yes. And did Andrew drink? No, she doesn't remember him drinking, but did they get you drunk? Is that part of the MO? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And were there drugs as well? Yeah, there were drugs. So did they sort of get you hooked on drugs she was already hooked on drugs. She says, okay, but were they supplying you with drugs? Is that what made you stay? Part of the reason, but is it really because you couldn't find a way out? No, she could not find a way out. She did try to run away. There was security. There were cameras everywhere. She could not leave.
She was trafficked in the Epstein network and in 2002 went to Thailand where she ultimately escaped. Is there another outpost of Epstein's in Thailand that other girls were at?
Is there another outpost of he had places all over the world. And he would fly to these places, bringing these girls to these wealthy people. Were they paying him for the services? I mean, she believes so. She believes that he was also at times being paid. But what about the times that people weren't paying him? Well, then, so there was two things going on here. There's the blackmail situation, okay, and then there's this, prostituting girl situation. And did you have to have sex with Jeffrey Epstein all the time? And did you ever refuse? Yeah, plenty of times. And what would happen if you refuse? They would lock me in a room. Would they let you out? No. They kept her locked in a room until she agreed to have sex with Jeffrey Epstein. That was the only way she could have some bit of freedom. She's saying to me that she was very controlled.
And I wanted to ask her too about how she was able to get money, or was she just plied with drugs and alcohol? And did she ever witness any satanic ritual abuse from other people or sacrifices of people?
Or witness any sacrifices or satanic abuse of other people? No, she didn't witness that. No. And what did you have money when you were with them? I mean, they supplied money. What about when you needed clothes? Did they buy your clothes or were you allowed to go shopping? No. Maxwell was in charge of the wardrobe, was in charge of what hair, lingerie, she was in charge of all of that. So would you say that they were more running a brothel or were they more into the blackmail? If you were to break it down percentage wise, 75% was blackmail, 25% prostitution. And what did the other girls say about all of this? I mean, they were just as messed up as she was. Some of them were on the street. They picked them up off the street. They cleaned him up. And she says, for a very vulnerable person, that's a good deal to have a bed over, a bed and a roof over your head every night, food. I mean, we were desperate. Were you desperate? Yes, she was. She was desperate when she met them. And it was like they sold her a dream. But once you were in there, what happened? Yeah, but once she was in there, she wasn't, when she figured out what this was. So, how long did it take for you to figure this out? It didn't take her long, it only took her a few days. And when you figured it out, then what happened? Did you tell them you felt uncomfortable? She did. And that's where what did Maxwell do? She controlled them. They were watched. And were you locked and were you locked? Yeah, that's where she couldn't escape. She couldn't escape.
What ages were the girls that she witnessed or saw while she was on Epstein Island, or didn't she have any fraternization with other kept slaves?
What was the youngest age that you saw on the Epstein Island? 14? 14? Yeah, she believes 14, maybe 13.
And besides Prince Andrew, can she name any other names and people that she was lent out to that we might find shocking?
Were there any other names that you were lent out to? Ooh, she's given them to me. I can't say these names, but hmm, very prominent people. And you're saying that they did this to you? All of them did. So what about like Bill Gates, he was one. What about, she's telling me some of them are leaders, and I can't say for fear of getting sued or shut
What is
down.
she, what can she see now about the relationship of Virginia and her lifetime from the other side?
What can you say about your relationship as a soul with Virginia? Like, how did it feel to be Virginia? Now that you're free of being Virginia on the other side, what was that whole experience like? Um, it certainly was filled with ups and downs, psychological warfare, she says, constant anxiety, constant nightmares. But are you going to, do you believe that you resolved a lot of issues as Virginia? No, no, she hasn't. There's still the issue of self-love. Now, was exiting the earth plane in the way that you did, was that in the life plan as well? Yes, it was. And do you think that, okay, let's ask this question. Why? Is this going to bring about more awareness, or what is the whole, why did you, like, what is the life lesson behind that? It's about Andrew and what's going to happen with he's going down. He's going down. Will he be prosecuted? No. Will be he ever re-enter royal life? No. They, and the royal family just want him to go away quietly. Basically, if they could dispose of him, would they? Yes, there's been talks of even getting disposing of him.
From the other side, though, what other tendrils or fabrics can she see of the tapestry of the Epstein network that maybe she wasn't privy to when she was involved in it?
What else can you see from the other side? Well, this goes on all the time. And will Maxwell die in jail? Ultimately, she will. Um, this this is a major, major problem. Vulnerable girls or children, doesn't necessarily have to be female, are being trafficked. They're being shopped for and trafficked, moved around very quickly, she says. They don't stay in one place for too long. And is this still going on in prominent circles? Yes, it is. And are we going to see more exposure of this because of your suicide? She says yes.
I would think that her suicide might close the book on it since she was such a vocal advocate and there were hundreds of other Jane Does associated with it. Maybe we can bring in Jeffrey Epstein and ask him a couple questions about the network. If they communicated well on the other side, I don't want to cause bad blood or a row between them.
Have you communicate? I mean, yeah. I mean, look, on the other side, it's like, yeah, you played your part, I played my part, right? And what I'm getting is we really messed this up. Did this not help? Or no, no, this was not, it was too much of a burden. It was too big of a burden for all involved. Now, my question is, yes, we'll bring Jeffrey in. I mean, he's here, but what is the role for Maxwell? Like, what on a soul level does she have to gain from all of this? So what, let's ask, what from a soul level does she have to gain? So she really needs to cut ties with her soul family, is what I'm getting. Um, she doesn't see how destructive her soul family is, and that she really has to say that enough is enough. Every lifetime she gets caught up in wanting to be something, wanting to be as big as the other people in her family, is what they're saying to me. And it always ends in failure because she doesn't do it honestly. She tries to cut corners, she shortcuts. She never wants to do anything the hard way, as in, studying and building something herself. She's always piggybacking on somebody else's fame and fortune.
So if we can ask Jeffrey, who precisely authorized your operations?
Ooh, who precisely authorized your uh exit? Who authorized that? It was a number of people that got together.
Was
He
it a
was he was going to tell, right? He was willing to give up that information, and there was talk about him going into a witness protection program in order to, you know, dish the goods out on all these other prominent individuals. Okay. There was definitely some sort of deal that was going to be worked out. Like maybe he wouldn't be held in a US prison, he would have been under permanent house arrest for life somewhere else. But it would be a better situation than his last situation. There were talks of making a deal. And who got wind of that? Everybody in the black book got wind of that. And so they got together. Yes, he says five of them got together and arranged it.
arranged the hit?
Arranged the hit. Yes.
So we'll ask again. Who precisely authorized your operations? Was it a banking cartel, a private group of wealthy citizens, the CIA, FBI, Mossad, foreign government, or none or some of the above?
Was it any government organization? No. They were private individuals.
So you were allowed to operate for decades as a strategic asset. When would you turn the tapes over to the individuals who were then blackmail the elites that came to see you for favors?
So when did you turn the tapes over to them? He had copies of everything. Okay. Did they get the tapes? I mean, they would get a copy of the tape, but did you have people that were working for you to do the blackmail on your behalf? Yes, he did. So it wasn't coming directly from Epstein. There was a middleman who somehow got a copy of the tape. So a lot of times they would pretend to be like from the hotel, or, they had surveillance in whatever rooms they were using. What about the tapes from Epstein Island? Or the airplane? What about where there was a recording on the airplane? Everything was recorded. He had a very sophisticated team, security team. And did all these people know what was going on? Every last one of them knew that he was trafficking these girls. Um, so didn't any of them ever speak out against it? No. No, they didn't. But did they know that did you make it appear as if these were like legitimate prostitutes who were fully aware of what they were getting themselves into and there was a payment agreed? Is that how those people viewed it? No, no, they were fully aware that these girls were being trafficked.
And roughly how many people would he have as clients in like a given week, a given month?
How many people would you have as clients in a given week? Anywhere up to 12. And what about a month? I mean, there were also like parties and weekends away, trips abroad. He's showing me like, a week on the yacht. And so if there was like, let's ask this question. Okay. So say there's a yacht, because he gave me an image of a yacht. So if there's a yacht, would they pay you for the room and board of the yacht? No. Would they pay you for the girl at that point? No. So Like you would just invite them to the yacht? Yes, he would invite them. Would they know, is this part of the blackmail? Yes. And so it would always, he would like to do this in like places where they wouldn't suspect that the videotapes belong to him. Okay, so how was I supposed to know that there were videotapes and recorders on, on the boat or on the yacht or in the hotel room or in the airplane? But you used your own airplanes, not always, not always. Um, so, the yacht situation, he's telling me that was more of a blackmail situation.
He wasn't working for any intelligence services, just this cartel or group of highly influential individuals.
Are you working for any intelligence services? No. Were you working for anyone else? No, this was his and Maxwell's own operation. Was this her idea? In part, it was her idea.
How many other cells did you have in other parts of the globe? How many?
How many other cells did you have in other parts of the globe? He's saying altogether about 20. So was this like a mass? I mean, let's ask him this question. Would you say you were more blackmail or you were more brothel? Blackmail. See, he's saying the same thing she did. This was a total, mostly a blackmail operation. So with Prince Andrew, were you blackmailing him? Oh, totally, totally. Especially the royal family, because they cannot take scandals. They cannot do this. So can we bring in Prince Andrew?
He's still alive.
Yeah, yeah, for now. Uh, Prince Andrew, how do you feel about the exiting of the off the airplane of Virginia? I mean, he's in celebratory mood, right? I mean, he just rubbed his hands together like, yes. Why do you say that? Because she's evil. Why do you say that she's evil? Because she's trying to take me down. Okay, but did you sleep with her? Yes, he did sleep with her.
How many
Okay.
times?
How many times? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. And were you constantly cheating on Fergie all the time? All the time he was never home. And were you cheating on Fergie all the time? Yes, all the time. This is something he engaged in regularly.
How many other girls in the Epstein network did he fraternize with that we don't know about?
How many other girls in the Epstein network did you have, relations with that the public? Several, about five.
And were they always the same? And where did this take place?
Were they always the same? No, there were different ones. And where did this take place? Did this take place in the UK? Mostly. And did you pay him for these services? Yes, he did. So this is where Andrew says that he has, according to his own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions, he has paid Epstein for these services. But let's ask this question, okay? To Epstein, did you charge Andrew up front for these services? No. Okay, I knew I had to ask that question because, again, personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. So going back to Prince Andrew, why do you say that you paid for these services? Yeah, because he paid for it in the end. There you go. Right? So money did have to change hands, but so this was a blackmail situation where you blackmailed over these Epstein girls? Yes, he was. And so in his mind, he's saying, I paid for them, right? I paid for the tapes. What did you do with the tapes? He destroyed them, put them in a fire. But those tapes, let's ask Epstein, are those tapes definitely still? Yeah, all of them. See, I knew it. And they're in a cave. Yes, they're still in the cave in a trunk. And where? On the island. So I don't even know where Epstein Island is. Do you?
I don't haven't been there. No, don't know where it's at. Did he attempt to silence Virginia through any intermediaries during his court battle with her, asking Prince Andrew?
Did you attempt to silence Virginia through any intermediaries? Yes. Yes. She was confronted. Now, you remember what she said, which was she believed that they tried to kill her. So let's go
Mhm.
back to her. Did you believe that the royals tried? Now that you're in spirit, you'll have full view. Do you believe that the royals tried to kill you? No, it was Epstein who was trying to get rid of her. But at this point, she was so highly protected. Is that why you chose to speak out because you were in fear for your life? Ultimately, yes. Ultimately, she says, I was in fear for my life and I was on the run. And is that why you had to speak out so your life would be protected? Yes, because she was one of those people that could just disappear off the face of the planet, never to be seen or heard from again, and no one would care and no one would know. So she had to speak out.
I wanted to ask Prince Andrew about his karmic ties with Jeffrey Epstein, how many lifetimes they've had together, and whether they've been intertwined before.
We've been intertwined before with Jeffrey Epstein. No, let me ask Epstein that because I'm asking Andrew's subconscious and he's like, no. Do you know each other from past lives? Yes, one past life. And Andrew's been royalty before. This is going back quite some way. Were you king at that time? No. Where he's always a prince. Have you ever been king? No, he's never in line to direct line to the throne. And how did you know Epstein, or how did you two know each other in a past life? Ooh, Epstein betrayed him in a past life, and he was actually killed. Epstein betrayed him, um, set him up to fail in a past life. Can you believe that?
And so are they
So,
even Steven now, or is there another plan to ace each other out in the near term or long term incarnation?
are they even Steven now? No, no. So again, this is more karmic debt. But Andrew, his soul is not the type to, I don't know. Look, I'm not saying what he did was right, okay? But when I look into his soul, what I am getting is like he doesn't like being terrible to people. He Do you intend to hurt people? No, I mean, not intentionally from a soul level. Did he hurt many people? Yes, he has hurt many people in this life. But on a soul level, his soul looks very weak to me. He doesn't come across as a very strong soul, who stands up for justice and what they believe in and things like that. It just seems like he keeps getting into these contracts where he is constantly betrayed and it's supposed to make his soul stronger, but I just don't see that ever happening.
And
And
for
in
the
this lifetime, is it going to happen? No, no. His soul is a very weak sort of consciousness soul.
well, I guess I wanted to find out again from Virginia, since the probe is really about her, how many other of her lifetimes involved abuse, and how many of those were, I guess, tied indirectly or directly to Epstein or Maxwell?
How many of those other lifetimes were you abused and they were tied directly to Epstein or Maxwell? More towards Maxwell. Um, I'm getting like Maxwell has been a mother figure to her in a previous life. And what about that? And it is always very abusive. Always sets her up. Always just not a nice person, she says. But actually Maxwell has been her mother in a previous life, but that didn't work out so well, obviously. So this
Hmm.
lifetime she chose a different soul family. She just needed a soul family to bring her into the earth plane, not necessarily to see it through. And what I mean by that is, like we have our children, we raise our children, we're all together. That was not what she had wanted in this lifetime.
Let's ask Ghislaine Maxwell, were you recruited into Epstein's network, or did your ties with your father help you create the blackmail network and then you came to Epstein? Which came first?
First, the Blackmail network. No, no. They cooked this up together, her and Epstein. So you and Epstein cooked this up together. Yes, they did. How did this come about though? It was just like one of our bright ideas, she says. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bright. I'm just using exactly the wording that she is giving me. Um, it was something that they came up together. This is a way to make a lot of money. Did you guys have a lot of money? Yes, but it was always somebody else's money. It doesn't seem to be like genuine money that they genuinely earned through, upstanding means, right? It
Okay.
seems to be we have to extract from others in order to keep up this lifestyle.
Did she believe she would be shielded after Epstein's death? And did she have any role in it or know about it?
Did you believe you were going to be shielded after Epstein's death? No, she believed they were coming for her. Do you still believe that they're coming for you? Yes. Ultimately, she believes that she will be killed in jail. I'm getting a no on that. She will die in jail, but not through the same means that Epstein was.
Roughly how many girls would she say that she was involved with trafficking while she was working with Epstein?
How many girls would you say that you trafficked? About 40.
And is that over? I think there were like 100 in the Jane Doe lawsuit that I read, maybe. Are some of them just lying, or were there more in different places and you forgot?
There was over 100 in the Jane Doe lawsuit. No, she says there was about 40 that she actively trafficked, that she was personally in control of.
Within
Were
the
there
network?
were there other females like madams, or did Jeffrey Epstein have other madams elsewhere? I mean, so look, I feel like some of those girls were brought into the situation. So, come to Epstein Island, have a good time or whatever, and bring your girl with you. Um, is what she's saying. So a lot of that could have been from that. But she's telling me, are you sure it's about four? She's saying about 40.
And so, how many in the Epstein network that you're aware of?
Oh, how many were in the total Epstein network that you were? Oh, hundreds.
And what were the ages of the youngest girl to the oldest girl?
What was the youngest girl's age? Can you tell me the youngest girl's age? About 12. And what was the oldest girl's age? She's saying 21.
Had she been a brothel leader or madam in a past lifetime?
Has she been a brothel leader or a madam in a past lifetime? Was she in a brothel? No, I don't feel that. I do feel that she would pimp out or present, as it's being put by her soul, her female children in a previous lifetime in order for money. But look, what is it, like Jane Austen, oh, so and so's coming over, look your bed. That's kind of how it was. I'm not saying that she pimped them out, but she presented them, and it was always in an effort to extract money from men, so suitors and things like that. You didn't want your daughters to, in that past life, to lose their virginity, because that's not good for any prospective husband, especially when you're sort of, and when I say pimp out, I mean like she's kind of arranging a sale of her daughters. They paid dowries back then. So this is something that, yes, I would say she has done before, but just not in this particular way.
We're going to have to do a part two, I believe, on the Jeffrey Epstein files, but I wondered if Jeffrey Epstein could tell us why the delay in releasing the files of his blackmail network. We were supposed to see that. We haven't seen it yet.
Are we going to see it? It will be revealed. Okay. Um, why has that not been revealed yet? There's so much information in there. A lot of big people are going to go down. Are they going to go down? Yeah, a lot of names are in that those files. A lot of them have passed away. Okay, a lot of them are gone. Is it legally being stopped? I feel there are legal things stopping it, legal blockages right now, like people trying to not have it released is what I'm getting. But they'll lose those cases.
And will those names be redacted, does he believe, or will they be full, open Monty transparency?
Will they be redacted? Some of them might, but will they be mostly transparent? Yes, mostly transparent. Mm-hmm.
So if Epstein had survived, what was he prepared to share? What was he prepared to tell people?
If you had survived, what were you prepared to tell? Everything. Where people hide money, where they hide their wealth, um, the sexual excursions, the prominent people, he has all the tapes to prove it. Do the people that killed you, do they know that you still had the evidence? Yeah, they knew that. They knew that.
All right, Liz. All right, everybody. I wanted to thank Virginia for her coming forth and letting us know about the tumultuous life she had. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Liz, for bringing everybody forth. We appreciate it. It's a dirty subject, and hopefully we can help shine some light on it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's ask Virginia. Do you have any last words for anyone that may have been a victim of trafficking or found themselves in like undesirable circumstances? She says, always speak out. Always speak out. Never remain silent. It's better to tell the truth. And I'm saying, were you ever embarrassed by what happened? She says, no, I was not embarrassed. I spoke the truth. And it's better to tell the truth, because the more you cover up and the more you don't speak out, the more they get away with it. That's what she said.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Thanks, everybody out there. And thank you, Virginia, and the other folks that came through. We will see you guys next time.